Good morning. Yep, it's Toronto Raptors Day. Okay, so what's happening here now? Well, if you watch the rollback, you'll know. And it looks like a beautiful, bright, sunny day out there today. Yeah, there's no log jams in the bird feeder. The rabbits have fresh carrots. Yeah, and the sunrise this morning was really nice. Nothing spectacular, just really nice. The sun is up, and the weatherman is predicting sunshine for the next 6 days. So there is no excuse now for not taking this hull outside and priming it. Okay, let's sort of roll back and see how it is we got to this place and why, and then we'll move on. Okay, continuing right along here late this afternoon. I was talking about removing that, I guess you would almost call it flashing, from where when the drill came in and pushed the plastic in instead of cutting it away. And my thinking was that maybe I should take the hobby knife and cut that off. And the reason being is, what I'm afraid could possibly happen, although I don't think it would, is that there might be an air bubble, like a sort of like an airlock, you might say, down on the bottom there, right where, in all likelihood, we are probably going to have the most chance of there being a gap. So I'm just don't know if I can do this on camera or not, because it's kind of in my way here. But we just want to remove this so that I wonder if I could get my photo etch chisel would fit in. No, I don't think it's long enough. I just want to. There's probably a better way to do this. Getting most of it. Now I want to be careful that I don't accidentally, knock that plug or whatever we call it out. But I don't think we would. Now it doesn't really matter if I make a mess of the bottom here and scratch it up, because it's going to have the epoxy glue there anyway. Okay, I think you get the idea of what I'm trying to do. I'm just going to go ahead and clean that up maybe just a little bit better, and I'm going to do the other one the same way, and then we'll mix up our glue. Okay, you don't very often get to see the model table from this angle. What's happening here is the bow is suspended by a shoelace from the gantry, and the idea is to hold it so that this trough is going to be level. Otherwise the epoxy is going to slowly run out of it, and it has to be at an angle like this, otherwise it will run down into where the keel is. Now I'm probably going to have to do a little bit of tweaking here, but because when I put this shaft in, the shaft is going to dig down into the table and maybe break off the hanger bearing. Okay, so we gotta try and have it so that it's going to be suspended just a little bit above the table, so when it rocks over, it's not going to be resting on the table. Right now it's just a few millimeters above it. You might not be able to see it. Yeah, maybe a quarter of an inch to us North Americans. Okay, that looks pretty much level. I'll push the shaft back so that it's not sticking into where the epoxy is going to go. And maybe it could tilt just a little bit more this way. Yeah, maybe if I could prop it up from the other side. Where's my piece of wood here? Something like this. That's somewhat better. Okay, this is by eyeballing it. This looks level, both this way and this way. I'm sort of envisioning it with the way the plane of the tabletop is. It maybe could go just a little more. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, I think what can happen is after I put the epoxy in there, if I see that it's starting to flow more one way than the other, I can slowly adjust it because it does take it quite a while to cure. Anyway, let's get our epoxy mixed up and get the camera repositioned and see what we can do here. Okay, before I mix this up, I better shove that shaft back so that it's... There we go, I think that's about right. We should be able to pull it out. Now this PSI Woodworking Products, that's Penn State Industries. And William Woodwright here in Canada uses, has quite a bit of their stuff. Penn State Industries is actually an American outfit, I believe. And William Woodwright here in Canada is where I bought most of my pen turning blanks and stuff like that. I did get some from Lee Valley too in the early days. Now I was noticing that this stuff seems to be a lot thicker than it was the last time I used it, but I think it's going to be okay. Now I'm hoping I've mixed up enough here. It's going to be kind of hard to scoop it out maybe. Let's see what happens here. I'll use a toothpick afterwards to poke it down into the crack. I think it's going to work out good. I realize that my hand is kind of getting in your light. I'm going to have to do these one at a time. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. Obviously, I'm going to have to, because if I try to do the other one, it's going to flow out. You can see that. I don't think I'm going to have to do too much tweaking about my leveling job here. That's okay. Now let's just take a pointy toothpick and poke it in there, and just try and make sure that we don't have any air bubbles down there where the crack is, where if there's going to be a problem, in other words a void, it'll be well, there won't be a void. It'll just go from plastic to epoxy. And I've got some more here, so I may as well put it on. Oh, I missed it. And here I was just thinking what a nice neat job I was doing. I'm not getting it anywhere else except where it's supposed to go. I'm not noticing any change in consistency from when I mixed it up. It seems to be about the same. This cures quite slowly. Well, it's called 15 minutes, so that's supposed to be the working time. I can't remember why it was oh yeah, I do remember why I bought this now. I originally used to glue my brass tubes into the pen blank, with this stuff, and then I started using CA thick. Okay, I think I probably got enough there. Okay, let's just leave that for half an hour and see what it looks like. Okay, I'm guessing about an hour, maybe a little more, probably a little more than an hour has passed now. I'm noticing that there are bubbles trapped in there. Now, if I had been down in my workshop, and if this thing was a lot smaller, and I was to do something like this, I would put the thing in my vacuum chamber, sort of bring it to a boil kind of thing. The bubbles would come to the surface because they would expand, and that system actually works, especially if you're trying to permeate wood or stabilize punky wood with epoxy or some kind of something like this. Now, I'm going to make a prediction. It's probably hard enough that this is not going to sink into it, but it's not going to be hard enough that it's not going to leave a little mark. So let's just try it and see what happens. Yeah, it's coming along. Okay, let's just leave it alone and give it a little while longer. Then I'm going to do the other side the same way, and by tomorrow morning it should be okay. Okay, our day is pretty much done here, and I've got the other side filled in with the epoxy, and I'm already getting the gears in the comments about why did I not use the hobby putty. Yeah, this would have worked too, probably. But I chose to use the epoxy. We'll see how it comes out tomorrow. I felt that the epoxy might be a little bit more durable. I had considered doing this. I had it laying right here on the table. I looked at it several times. I knew it was there, but I chose not to do it. Anyway, we'll see how it turns out with the epoxy tomorrow, because it's going to take pretty well all night to get to the place where it can sand properly. Right now, if we were to try to sand it as well, this side over here, we couldn't sand it all. It's still soft. I just poured it in there. But the other side, it'll just sort of crumble if you try to sand epoxy before it's ready. Anyway. Earlier today I was watching Jason with his Queen Mary II premiere, and he's got this build going on, and it's quite interesting, and I was watching it, and then while I was watching it I was thinking, I wonder why Trumpeter doesn't make any of the real large passenger ships like the Queen Mary II, or some of these like the Oasis of the Seas cruise ships, something like that. That'd be a pretty fantastic model, excuse me, if it was in 200 scale. Mind you, I probably wouldn't get one anyway. We'll see what happens about the Yamato. I haven't heard back yet from the hobby store, so nothing may come of that. It could be that it's not even going to be available here in Canada. I'd have to bring it in from the States or who knows where. On the other hand, it could be every hobby store in town will have one, but I kind of doubt it. Anyway, we'll see you in the morning. Okay, it is morning. I have taken our hull down from the gantry, and I haven't tested this yet, but this should scratch. Yeah, that's hard. That's going to file really nice if I get down into it. No, I don't. I'm hoping that I don't actually go down that far, but the idea is that if I do, well, it doesn't matter. We're just going to go into this, and after it's painted, you're not going to know are you painting epoxy or are you painting plastic. Now, I already know that we have a very slight problem because when I was moving this around, I'll show you what happened. Okay. Our cloth here is sticking to the, well, in other words, it leaked a little bit around the shaft there. This is the most I've checked. I'm just gonna pull that off. Yeah, that'll be okay. Yeah, we didn't ruin our cloth, and it does appear that the shaft did stay in there. When I first went to move this and the cloth stuck to it, I thought, oh no, the shaft pulled out, but it didn't. It's in there right where it's supposed to be. Let's swing this around and pull those shafts out and just see what kind of a little pocket we got going on there, so that after everything's all painted and we go to put it back, it's going to go back in the same place. Now we are going to obviously we're going to have to cut these shafts off, but I do believe that I have something down in the basement that will very easily cut that. Okay, we are looking at the one now that had the cloth stuck on it. You can sort of see the fluffies stuck on there, but we'll file that off. Now what I'm going to do, see, I'm going to just hold this down here, and I'm going to try not to move it out of the field of view, and I'm grabbing onto the other end of the shaft with a pair of pliers, and the idea is I want to sort of give it a bit of a twist. Oh my goodness, this is glued in there harder than I thought. Maybe I have to reposition my pliers here just a little bit. Okay, there we go. All right. Now, yeah, we shouldn't have any problem getting that back in there. All right, let's remove the other one. Okay, maybe this one will be a little easier to see. Unless I get my big fingers in the road. There, that's better. Okay, let's grab hold of the other end of the shaft with the pliers and give it a bit of a twist here. I almost need the vice grips. What's going on here? Okay, I've got a better grasp on it. There we go. Yeah. I got to admit, I'm surprised that epoxy glue stuck so well to that metal. But anyway, yeah. Okay, now, where's my file? As long as we're all in focus here. Now, the trick is going to be to try and, I want to do something like this all the way around. I'm living dangerously here. I should really be putting masking tape on the hull and, of course, getting our shaft out of the way. But I can see that this is actually going to work. Maybe I'll use the coarse sanding stick and just sort of drag it back. Although I do find that I can have better results, using a file. Now this is going to take a while, I can tell. Okay, but you can see here how it's shaping. And I think that once it's all painted the same color, yeah, this is going to work. I am pleased with this. Okay. Now I don't very often use my coarse sanding stick, but I'm going to start out with that. And of course the idea of this masking tape is so if I touch the hull, hopefully it's going to not scratch it. And this is the one that we did that close-up on just a moment ago. And let's see how it goes here. Maybe I'll stick the macro lens on after, maybe I won't. We'll just see how it goes. I must have a power tool down in the basement that'll do this. Maybe what I should be doing is periodically cleaning that out. Why don't I reposition the camera so you can see better what's happening here? Okay, now I think this is better. Sometimes when I'm editing, I think to myself, oh, if only I had been closer, this would have been a really good shot. Okay, so what I want to try to do is lay the edge of the sanding stick right on there and try and bring this over so that it's going to contour. You know, like you see the way Mr. T's poking device is sort of pointing towards where the shaft will be, and that's the way I want it to go all the way around, so that this part right here is going to sort of point towards it. Okay, now, yeah, that edge comes right down there. We should be able to get it down. I've got to watch that I don't go through the masking tape. How is this looking now? Now we can do the same thing on the other side. Just got to be careful not to move everything out of the field of view here. I wonder if the file would work better. Okay, maybe I should look in the monitor. Undoubtedly, you can see this better than I can here. Well, that's coming. Let's just take the medium here. You know who I find is really good at doing this kind of stuff, shaping stuff, and you probably already know who I'm going to say, right? Well, it's Nigel. Yeah, I was watching him, it must be about a year ago. Forget what ship he was working on, but he was adjusting the bow. I think it was on that 1/200 scale Titanic. And he was adjusting the bow to make it more correct. And he was doing a lot of shaping and what have you that, like I mentioned before, some people are really good at this sort of thing. You know, like the only thing that, as far as an artist goes, the only thing I've got that even comes close is I'm using a computer program called Da Vinci. Now, am I overdoing it here? Should I maybe be moving to the fine sanding stick and just sort of polish it just a little bit here. Or should I be taking more off? So let me get my toothbrush here and clean that powder out of there. Now I can sort of see where the hole is better. Okay, we got a slight problem right there. You can see it. I don't know if I can do much about that. Starting to get down to the plastic. I'm wearing the tape away there, aren't I? Well, I do believe that this is going to paint up really nice in a place that nobody's going to see anyway. But I'm going to know. Okay, now let's stick our shaft back in there. Where is it? Oh, pardon my reach here. Okay. That looks pretty good, I think. A lot better than it did before. Okay, I'm going to go and do the other side now much the same way. Okay, I've got the other one done now too. And I was scared to remove the masking tape because I noticed in some places I'd kind of dug through, but the hull seems to have come through this rather unscathed. Now, I suppose I could take some extra thin and just sort of smooth that plastic out, but I'm not going to, I don't think I will. I think I'll just leave it. It's looking pretty good. They're not a perfect match, but the good news is that you don't see both at the same time anyway. So you're not going to know. No. I haven't tried this yet. Let's just... Okay, and the other one. I remember one time a viewer asked me, why do I use tweezers so much to pick stuff up? And I told him it's because let's scrape that off there. Maybe I should have sanded this off. Just hang on a second here. Maybe I should use this one. Okay. I use tweezers to pick stuff up like that because it's hard to pick up small stuff with my fingers. Okay. Yeah, that's believable. That's believable. Okay. Now what we're going to want to do is put the propellers on and measure the different distance between where the propeller comes and cut off that amount. But there's no rush on that. No rush on that. I'm quite pleased with this, actually. Yeah. You can probably tell. Okay. Now, something I want to show you. So it's probably about 2 or 3 clips ago, I noticed something moving out of the corner of my eye, and I sort of put it down to seeing spots before my eyes, or blood clot, or stroke coming on, or something mild like that. And well, not really. But anyway, later on when I was rearranging stuff, okay, we got a little spider here on our model table. Now, I think our friend Gabe, you know, the fellow who gave us the dental swabs a couple of days ago, I think he's actually an entomologist, among other things. So Gabe, if you're watching, should I be worried about this spider, or is it just an ordinary spider that's not going to hurt me? See if I can keep him moving here. He probably doesn't want to move. I should build something out of a little clear glass cage out of microscope slides, and then I can look at them under my shop microscope. I remember one time I was looking at a spider and it had a whole bunch of eyes on it. Probably this one does too. Anyway, yeah, Gabe, what do we got going here? Okay, this is nice and hot. I just took it out of the microwave here a minute ago. And if it looks like the same piece of pizza that we had 7 days ago sitting here, well, it's because it is. If you remember, we didn't eat it and went back into the freezer. Well, here it is. Difference is, this time I'm going to eat it. Now let's just give it one revolution here. All right. Well, we didn't spray today, but we did finish up our prop chef's thingies, and they turned out really good. And we used Paul's idea, and it was a good idea. Thank you, Paul. And yeah, I'm going to call today's episode quits here, and maybe I'll build something this afternoon for our spider here. So I can take a look at him. This glass is just too big. I want something small that's going to more or less keep him in one place and yet not crush him, and yet it's going to be clear like a microscope slide. Oh, I know how to do it. I'll do it. On the other hand, I might just paint the hull and we'll video it, and you'll see it in tomorrow's rollback. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we'll be seeing you tomorrow. Hopefully, I was going to say in the spray booth, but it won't be in the spray booth. It'll be outside, because I don't want to spray that primer in the house here. Okay. See you tomorrow.